You know those clean, simple charts you see everywhere? The ones that seem to just magically explain the world to us? Well, it's not magic. It's actually a journey. And in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and follow the secret life of data. We'll see the step-by-step process that turns a messy question into a crystal clear insight. Let's get started. Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here with a question. Something we're curious about, right? Like, which of our hospitals is the busiest? Or maybe, what's our most popular product? These questions are usually pretty broad, kind of messy, and all tangled up with the real world. So, how do we get from this to this, something so clear and simple that anyone can understand it in a single glance? This is our destination, a clean visual answer. So let's trace the path and see exactly how it's done. Okay, first things first. The most important step is to get really, really specific. I mean, before you can even think about finding an answer, you have to know exactly what you're asking. This is all about nailing down the objective of your study or survey. It really is the spark that lights the fuse for the entire process. So once our question is crystal clear, the hunt is on. This part is data collection. And honestly, it's a lot like being a detective. You're out there gathering clues from the world. And the way you gather those clues is going to make or break the quality of your answer. Choosing the right tool for the job is absolutely everything. So what kind of tools are in our detective kit? Well, there are some classic methods. You can call people up with a telephone survey, you could mail out a questionnaire, or you could interview them face-to-face. More and more, we're seeing online surveys, which have totally blown up. And sometimes, the best way is just to watch what's happening and take notes. That's direct observation. And this right here shows you a classic trade-off. Think about it. A personal interview, you're going to get great response rates, right? It's kind of hard to ignore someone standing right in front of you. But wow, is it expensive and time-consuming? On the flip side, an online survey is super fast and cheap, but you run the risk of most people just hitting delete. So you see, the method you pick fundamentally shapes the data you're going to get back. All right, so you've collected all your clues, but what you have at this point, it isn't an answer. Nope. It's a giant, messy pile of raw data. It's chaos. So the next job is to tame this beast and bring some order to it all, organizing it into a format that actually starts to make sense. And our number one tool for that is something called a frequency distribution. Now, I know, it sounds a little technical, but the idea is incredibly simple. You just count how often each answer or value pops up in your data. That's it. It is the first crucial step to summarizing a massive list of information. Just look at this. Instead of having to read through a list of 112 different people, you can see instantly 67 females, 45 males. Boom. This little frequency table took all that raw data and just wrangled it into a neat, organized summary. This is the moment where the first real insights start to pop out. And now for my favorite part, the big reveal. We've got our organized data, and it's time to transform it into something powerful, something memorable, and something incredibly easy to understand. It's time to tell a visual story. Let's start with an absolute classic, the bar chart. Its whole job is to compare things that fall into separate, distinct categories. So think cities, or different products, or maybe car brands. And here's the key visual clue you gotta look for. The gaps between the bars. Those gaps are literally telling you, hey, these are separate things we're comparing. And this is a perfect example. Each bar is a totally separate hospital location. They aren't connected. You can see in a split second which one has the most admissions and which one has the least. It's a straight-up comparison of separate groups. Okay, now let's meet the bar chart's very close cousin, the histogram. It looks similar, I'll give you that, but it does a totally different job. A histogram shows you the shape or the distribution of data that's continuous. We're talking about things like height, weight, or time, numbers that flow smoothly from one to the next. See the difference? Here, all the bars are snuggled up right next to each other. No gaps. And that's because weight is a continuous scale. This chart isn't comparing separate things. It's showing us how the student weights are all clustered together and spread out across that range. So, this is the aha moment. It all comes down to this: gaps versus no gaps. If you see gaps between the bars, you know you're comparing separate categories. If the bars are all touching, you're looking at the distribution of a continuous flow of numbers. It's a super simple visual rule that tells you exactly what kind of story you're being told. And believe me, the storytelling doesn't stop there. Even with the same type of chart, design choices really matter. On the left, you've got a clustered chart. The bars are side by side, which is perfect for comparing coffee exports to teff exports in any single year. But on the right, a stack chart uses the exact same data to show us the total export volume and how much each crop makes up of that whole. See? Different designs, different stories. And of course, sometimes your main goal is just to show how different parts make up 100% of a whole. For that, you can't beat the classic pie chart. Each slice is just a proportion, making it instantly clear how something, like market share for fruit, is all divided up. So, there you have it. We've made the full journey, from a messy question all the way to a clear visual. It's a really powerful process. But with great power comes great responsibility. It's so important to understand both the strengths and, the weaknesses of telling stories with data this way. I mean, the power is undeniable. A good chart just grabs your attention. It lets people who aren't data scientists see the main point in seconds. It saves everybody from having to sift through a dense table of numbers and figure it all out for themselves. It just makes information accessible and way more impactful. But you gotta watch out for the pitfalls. A chart can definitely be misleading. For example, if the vertical axis doesn't start at 0, it can make tiny differences look absolutely huge. A chart can also oversimplify a really complex situation, hiding some super important details. And you have to remember, a person chose that chart type. They chose those colors, and their choices can totally influence what you take away. It really pays to look with a critical eye. So, here's the big takeaway from all this. A chart is never just a picture. It's the final chapter of a really long story, one that's full of choices. What question to ask, how to collect the data, how to organize it, and finally, how to show it. So the next time you see a chart, ask yourself, what story is this really telling me? And what choices were made to tell it that specific way?
Subscribe to my channel.